Being happy is one of the simplest and hardest things that a human being can do. And in this video, I want to talk about why do I think so? I'm gonna try to convince you by giving you arguments and experiences that I've lived through my whole life. And hopefully, even if we all know that it's hard, I can actually make some of you reconsider and take action. So I'm gonna start this video by talking about my teenage years. If I had to choose a word to describe them, or a couple of words, it would be lack of purpose, right? I would do everything that the teenager was supposed to do. Going out, hanging out with friends, playing video games. There's one thing that I can tell you about it right now, that I can look back at it, is that I did all those things, but I wasn't doing them with purpose. And that was killing me. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I only knew that I was a good person, or that I felt that I was a good person, and those around me felt like this as well. And that I was mature for my age, whatever that means, right? I felt this emptiness inside of me. I felt lost. And I would compare myself to others, which would make me feel guilty. Might sound weird, but hopefully some of you can relate to it. There we go. So, as I was saying, I would compare myself to others because I felt this emptiness inside of me. And that would make me feel guilty because it looked like everyone else had everything figured out. I tried many things and nothing worked. I tried different hobbies, jobs, studying different things. And looking back at it now, my goal was to find this magic pill, call it magic pill, magic answer, that would actually solve all my problems. Like, hey, here it is. All you had to do was find out about this job, about this hobby, these studies that that's really what you are meant to be. You were born to do this, right? And you feel like a click inside of you, like, yes, that's it. Well, I can tell you that that doesn't exist, at least for me. But that was what I was looking for back in the day. I think I was also lacking self-growth. And also, well, motivation, whatever that is. I can now finally say that what was driving me crazy about it was that I didn't have any purpose. I was lacking self-growth. I wanted to take the short route, and that's not how things work. As I said, I didn't have any motivation. That's what I called it back then. It was funny because I did plenty of things, like I went to the gym, I practiced sports, but no matter what I tried in order to fill this void inside of me, I knew that I would eventually stop. And let me elaborate on this. You might think, oh, you're just being negative, right? That's why you didn't last long in wherever was your purpose back in the day. That wasn't the case. I can assure you it wasn't the case. I just wasn't feeling whatever I was doing. Like, I did things because they were supposed to be good for you, like practicing a sport, hanging out with people. But I always had this feeling of not belonging to a place, and I just couldn't help it. Okay, got it. So as I was saying, I couldn't help it. That made me fail at studies, sports, anything that I told myself that I would do, I would fail. The problem is, I had this feeling that I would fail even before starting. You can't change that feeling. It's not about being positive or no. It's just how I felt, that there was no purpose inside of me to do all those things. I envied others. For example, my friend that would actually love training for triathlons, and he would want to try new routines, techniques. I envied him. And I told myself, well, just try to stick to people like him, right? People that actually have this will, yeah, that's a word, they have this will to do things. That way, you do things, but at the same time, when I talk to people about how my life was going, I felt like I was saying things that other people wanted to do. That, like, they wanted my things, right? I wasn't doing triathlons because that's what I wanted to do. I was doing triathlons because that's what my friend wanted to do, and it was good for me, you know? So that only made me feel more lost. I would have to fake my attitude of some sort, being it in training, being it with other people. That's just like a snowball effect, right? Looking back at it, it was the only thing that I could do, just try things, meet new people. I don't know, at that time, it didn't feel like the right thing at all. And I want to remind that I had this super big feeling of not belonging. I didn't belong anywhere, even with my family. That would eventually lead to a burnout. I would just be in this cycle of saying that I would do things that I wouldn't end up doing. It felt like it was so easy to talk about things that I would do, but I would never do them. I don't know if you feel related to this, but that's how I felt. I'm gonna get hit a lot by this guy. No! So anyway, when you talk out loud about the plans or about the things that you want to achieve, you bring it straight into thinking, we already did it, right? So you don't do it anymore, at least in my case, and it's so stupid. And I guess there's gonna be a name for this, and I might not be the only one that gets this to happen to him. But yeah, that happens to me a lot. That was especially true back in that time when I was a teenager. Well, there were so many phases in my life that I found out that I really need to keep moving. Yeah, I couldn't stay at home and just feel pity about myself because I couldn't find my path. So by pure luck or just because it had to happen, I actually happened to leave everything behind me, my job, my relationship, and I eventually did this trip along my country that it's called the Camino de Santiago. It took me a month and a half just because I took my time and I didn't rush it. That was the first step towards what I am right now, which is making this video and talking about it with you. I can also say that the first 3 days that I was walking, it's like 1,000+ kilometers walk. I can tell you that I called back home to my mom and saying, what am I doing here? Like, that's not gonna solve anything, you know, I'm gonna still feel lost. Oh. No! I can't believe it. He killed me. So, as I was saying, I was doing that trip, that was the first step, and I felt lost, I felt like I was wasting my time, but now looking back to it, I could tell my past self, hey, what else do you have in mind? Like, if this doesn't work, what else am I gonna do, you know? So I stick to it. And it's a journey that I started alone, but I can say I eventually met plenty of people that had other worries in their life, worse than mine. Okay, so that made me put everything into perspective. It wasn't easy. I had to accept so many things about myself. I had to ask questions, even if they didn't have any answer about me. And I had to deal with it. Yes, I'm still dealing with it. But the good thing is that I took action. As I said, that was like the first step towards my next adventure, which was traveling to another country. It was just a way for me to deal with everything that I had going on without having the pressure, self-imposed pressure, I can say, of having to be face-to-face with my family and feel like I have to give an answer of what am I going to do with my life, right? Holy moly, how many times am I getting hit? You can tell that I haven't played this game in a while, right? Okay, easy peasy. Looking back to it, I even did plenty of jobs there in Australia. I was a delivery driver, sort of waiter. I worked in a restaurant, we could say, more than a waiter. And at the time, I felt like I wasn't really advancing. There was no other answer for that. I needed that. I just was moving, meeting new people. Even if I felt like I could have done more things, it was the right thing and I did it the best way that I could, you know? I know sometimes you feel like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Well, I was doing something, right? One step at a time. Even there, I felt like, okay, I was going to the gym, for example. I was going because I was going with 2 other dudes and they were really into it, you know? And I was like following their, what was the word? Purpose. Their purpose, following their purpose. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to do it. I was doing it because it was good to exercise and because they really were into it, you know? But anyway, I can say now that I'm looking back into it, that it's all about trial and error, yes? You have to find your thing. And I can say now that it's easier for me to find my thing than it was back in the day. So I guess I gotta give that to life, like to experience, and find what works for you, you know? Just to give you an example, I am working out at home every day. And I do so for like 15, 20 minutes at most. And it works for me, you know? And I do it basically for my mental health rather than my physique. But guess what? My physique and my health is being improved. Because I'm focusing on mental health. And that's how it works for me. If I think about, hey, you need to work out because it's good for you in terms of you're growing. You feel like it's good for your growth as a persona. I do it. Whereas if I think to myself, oh no, I want to do this because I want to be strong and I want to look good, you know, I don't do it. Now, if my mind tells me, no, don't do it, today you're tired, today it's raining, whatever, I still do it because it's for my mind, not for my physique. You need to find your way for doing things. Some other people might just do it because they really want to look good, and that's totally fine. As long as it makes you wake up every day and do what you told yourself you will be doing, that's totally fine. I would do something over the top for a short period of time instead of being consistent and doing less. So I changed that. And I realized that consistency was way harder than doing something over the top for a short period of time. So I tried to do less, but more consistently. It works for me. It's giving me the results that I always wanted. So that was one of the changes that I did. So anyway, what I wanted to tell you with this is that I always squish my brain for answers, but I will get none. It was more about what works for me, you know? For example, I've always been an early morning person. And most of my friends aren't, right? Well, guess what? Waking up early and exercising in the morning worked for me. Who would have guessed, right? Whereas training in the afternoon, I would just give up. Another thing that made the trick for me, write things down on a piece of paper. Whatever it is, what you want to achieve, your thoughts about anything at all, like start writing things down. Like putting things on paper. So whatever it is, a brilliant idea that you have, just write it down. Don't let it go away. A friend of mine would say that good ideas don't fly away. They stick to you, even if you don't write them down. But it is what works for me again. So yeah, find your own thing. And I'm not. Yes, I am. Damn it. I'm getting hit on every boss. I started building small habits and started writing down what was good for me or what worked for me, you know. And I found my own routine instead of just relying on, hey, the best routine to not procrastinate, you know. And among those small habits, there were some that would surprise you, like doing the dishes, brushing your teeth. Do everything with purpose, I would say. I did that for a long time. The daily workouts. I even started reading in between resting sets in my workouts. But what eventually made the trick for me was setting up not only a wake-up time, but setting up a sleeping time. You might think to yourself, well, that's obvious. No, it's not that obvious. It wasn't for me. So 10 p.m. I would stop watching any type of screens and I would go to bed and read. Yes, read. Until 11. That would be like my limit time. Disclaimer here. That's like my thing, like my schedule. It doesn't mean that I always comply with it. It's just that I know that that works for me. So whenever I feel like I'm not in my best mood, not in my best mental, I tell myself, okay, did you do all those things that we agreed on? No. Okay, so don't complain. Either do them or keep feeling the way you feel. So anyway, just to sum it up a little bit, I did what I told you. 11 p.m. I will be sleeping and I will wake up at 6:30. Good thing that I have my dogs. My dogs have been one of the pillars of my routine, my mental strength, because it's compulsory for me to go out and take them for a walk so they can sniff the grass, they can run, play, and all those things. If I didn't have them, maybe sometimes I wouldn't leave the house 3 times a day for sure. I'll try to leave it at least once, but not 3 times. So that was a big part of it, yes? I would say that was it, like fixing my sleep schedule, my dogs, super important, and also writing down my thoughts and ideas. I don't know if that was good. Oh my god! 2, 3, 4. Okay. Basically, my dogs bring me down to earth, you know? They keep my feet on the ground, and they don't let me overthink about stuff. They just need to be fed, basic needs covered, play, exercise, mental stimulation, pee and poo. One last sentence that I would like to add on all this topic that I'm referring to right now is one that I recently read somewhere. And it's that quick growth builds ego, whereas slow growth builds character. And that's what I was looking for, to build character, to feel like I had growth in me. Okay, wait a second, I need to think about how to deal with this boss. One last sentence that I wanted to add about my dogs is that one of those thoughts that I wrote down on my on my notebook. I wrote this sentence down. Bimba and Boa, which are my 2 dogs. They are my anchor. They give me stability, work, and I am important for them. I think sometimes, at least in my case, I tend to say or to think about, oh, my dogs are so much. It's such a big effort to take care of your dogs properly, you know? You can take care of your dogs in so many ways. Some people maybe even neglect them. But in my case, I try to do what's best for them. I'm not perfect by any means, but I try to do what's best for them, and that makes me improve as a person. That's why when I wrote this sentence down and I saw the last part, what it says, I am important for them, I felt proud. Now, proud is something that it's been hard for me to feel, because it implies that you are content with something that you're doing. I guess it is one of the first times that I say it out loud to myself. Like someone is relying on me, my dogs rely on me, in a good sense. Had I not written this down, I wouldn't have realized about it, maybe. Like I was saying, sometimes we have some thoughts that if we don't put them into paper, we don't really realize how important they are, right? So anyway, after talking about what was the key for me to pursue a life with purpose, I can say that when I apply those things, because I also fail into applying them. Like I wrote down a few things that I feel when I actually do what I said. I feel fulfilled. I feel like I am a human being with a purpose. I feel energy through my body. I feel like I'm myself. I feel growth. I feel present in the moment. That's one of the most important things, to be present. When you overthink things, you're not in place, man. You're somewhere else. And that somewhere else doesn't really exist. So being present is always good. And the chicken's gonna get me, right? So much for an no-hit run, right? So whatever it is that works for you, like drinking tea in the morning, I don't know, listening to classical music before going to sleep, writing things down, or recording, do a voice recording of the things you're supposed to do, you want to do. Just try to figure out what's good for you. There we go. One thing that I realized that started happening to me is that I started getting these new ideas popping up in my head about things that I could do. And as you might realize, one of the things that I always wanted to do, for whatever reason that might be, was to become a YouTuber. For me, becoming a YouTuber, it was mainly a way that would allow me to spend more time with my dogs. Like if I'm able to choose, why not have a job that allows me to be with them, right? That was the main purpose. And also because I like video games, and I told myself that I didn't want to spend so much time with people, which I can already tell you that something that I've changed. But I eventually realized that the best thing about it was that I could be creative with it. You can make content about your dogs, about a video game, anything that you want, mate. You just have to be creative, let it flow. But things don't flow unless you follow the things that make you get results, right? That make you feel alive, that make you feel present. So I had to do those. And that's what am I right now. I'm trying to follow those routines so I can get the results that I want. In the past, it was like rushing things to make a tick and say, okay, I did this. I may run a half marathon. Whereas now, it's more about, I just want to do it because I want to do it. There we go. So, the comparison is just nonsense, right? Now, before I give out my final answer on everything that I'm saying related to the topic of this video, which is that you should take action. You should do it. I want to add some disclaimers to everything that I've said. First of all, with everything in life, nothing is a straight line. There's ups and downs. Always. The important thing is for you to be consistent. If you are consistent and you don't do things over the top for a short period of time, for every quarter of the year, things are gonna work out eventually. Anyway, so yeah, there's ups and downs. As I'm saying, I'm even making this video after procrastinating for a couple of weeks, because I decided to play World of Warcraft with my friends. Great idea when you want to accomplish things. Well, it's up to me. One thing that I try to tell myself as well is not to say, oh, tomorrow I will do this. No, you say, I want to do it, and you do it. You don't say, I should get that done, I should start my video, I should start studying, I should start. No, you shouldn't do anything that you don't want to do. You do things with purpose. You do things because you want to. And that's the most important part. I guess you have to ask yourself, what is the other option? It's the feeling you have inside of you. If you feel you're moving with purpose, if you feel like you're alive, you're present, that is priceless. It doesn't matter. Like, even if this video gets five views, it doesn't matter. I did it with purpose. I did it the best way I could. I definitely could have done a better video. I could have done it also worse. Right? Focus on the important things and the results will come on its own. The journey is what is important. I know it's quite a topic, but I can actually say that now I feel like the journey is what is important. And it's never ending. The journey never ends because it's not a race and because there is no ending. You will always have to do it. Finally, another disclaimer that I would like to add is that you don't have to convince others about your path, even if it's a crazy one. And believe me, I've seen people taking crazy paths. Try to do things with responsibility. So don't try to convince others about what you're going to do. And don't over explain yourself. Just do what's good for you without hurting others, obviously. When I say convincing others, don't look for validation. Just do your own way. Discover. Make mistakes. And lastly, I would say enjoy the process. Since it's never ending, why would you not enjoy it? Don't punish yourself too much. Try to give your best. Keep adjusting. Keep making small adjustments. Let me give you some final thoughts on the topic, yes? So the main thing here is that I wanted to share my own experience because I had this realization about how things work in my life, yes? How do I have to do things if I want to get results? So I hope that if I haven't convinced you about my way of doing things, which I shouldn't, you have to find your own way, remember? At least I have convinced you to take action. I think that's the most important thing. Don't get stuck in a situation overthinking. Because when you overthink, as I said before, you're not in the present. Having said that, I could also be wrong. So, trial and error. Do your thing. Maybe not taking action is what worked. Maybe it does. So, just give it a try. You might say so in the comments if you want. Like, just give us your personal experience. Tell us yourself a little bit. And it's fine if you disagree with me as well. But I took action. It is what worked for me. Alright, Emma down. That was so bad. So finally, we've reached the end of the video. And I wouldn't like to leave it without asking you to take action. Yes, you. So please, do it. Move, draw, jump, run, talk. Just do whatever pops into your mind. Whatever it is. And hopefully I've given you a different perspective on how to approach things in life. I'm still figuring it out myself, so don't be too hard on yourself. I try not to be on myself. We will eventually find it out, figure it out. Thank you. See ya. Bye.